Most people can't guard anybody one-on-one. The rules are different now, but when we played,
You got to be able to talk to your guard, said, this guy's open, rotate over.
Any pick and roll, we're driving.
We don't let this ball come into here. We're not letting him come into here.
You need to recognize when you're not on the ball, where do your teammates need help at?
You would know right when you can't throw it. As soon as they're cutting, 5 would have a clear out to go with her right hand right behind it.
Hello everyone, welcome to Scouting Report. I'm your host Tim Gray, Associate Head Men's Basketball Coach at Spartan University. Today my special guest is an up-and-coming coach in the women's field and the women's profession. He is currently assistant coach at the University of Louisville, and he's been an assistant coach at Auburn, Georgia Tech, and Tulsa. Please welcome my guest, Sam Purcell.
Appreciate having me on, man.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm great.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to talk about a few things, a few concepts about basketball, but please go through and tell us a little bit about your experiences coming from Tulsa to Georgia Tech and Auburn and making it to this point at Louisville.
Yeah, I'm just a lucky guy who gets to do what I love.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm from Dalton, Georgia, which is the carpet capital of the world. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. My dad worked in carpet, lived all over the United States, and was blessed to have 2 parents that told me to follow my dreams
Awesome.
and do something I love. So I never work a day in my life. And that's where I'm currently at.
Good.
And because of that, I played basketball in high school, went to junior college, all right, had dreams. A goal was playing high D1, but the good Lord did not bless me with the most talent.
Okay.
And I had the realization to understand it's time to hang it up. Had some D2 offers, but I always wanted to play D1 and work for the best program in the country.
Okay.
So the junior college I attended was Southern Union in Wadley, Alabama, which is an hour north of Auburn University. I get done with 2 years. Auburn at the time was #1 in the country. I called the head coach at the time, who was Cliff Ellis, who now is at Coastal Carolina. That's my guy.
Yeah.
He had a job lined up for me as a student manager.
Okay.
I get a call 2 weeks later with some bad news. He says, hey, Sam, I got a problem. We can't pay you what we promised you. But, you still can work with us. Well, I didn't come from wealth. That was the only school I was enrolled with. And my mom, who was a counselor, did not play. You were not going to take a semester off.
Gotcha.
Find a way. Had 2 jobs, one at the Gap, which I love clothes. All right,
You already know.
All right,
Yep.
As you can tell with the
You
shoes.
can already tell.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
and then I had a job as a telemarketer, which is ironic and funny now with the profession that I'm in, randomly calling people and introducing myself. And technology was coming into the game. All right, so we're talking about 2000.
Yeah.
And a flyer was on a bulletin board when I was trying to catch the bus to school that said we need a video coordinator for women's basketball. And I had a couple of girls in my class, and I was like, what? I get paid? I get to learn the game, all right, and do something I'm truly passionate about. Took it up, fell in love with the women's side, because obviously I had not had any women's experience prior to this, and the rest is history.
There you go.
And I've just been fortunate to work with good people and have great opportunities, and now I feel like I'm at one of the best schools in the country.
Yeah, you're one of the hottest and one of the best schools in the country. So tell us a little bit about your experience with UofL. How's that going?
Man, it's awesome. It's a dream. First and foremost, to work for a program that is supported by the community in the state. Attendance-wise, we're one of the top 5 year in and year out. So that makes my job easy. That I can go across the world, not just the country, the world, and sit down with a family and tell them, you know what? Your daughter will be supported like no other. The numbers that we're able to get, it's unbelievable. Some of the crowds that we draw are larger than actual professional basketball. And so for 4 years, I literally can sit there and tell a parent and a family that it could be the best 4 years of your life. And that's what college is supposed to be, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then with that, the support that our athletic director has put around our program is first class. The way we travel, a lot of people are unaware on the women's side. It's not like the men. The women in the professional leagues have to fly commercial, where we're able to fly charter.
Yeah.
The resources with trainers, athletic people, academics, tutors. It's unbelievable what they can do individually to create the best opportunities for their child.
Yeah, well, it's one of the best. I
Yeah.
already know it's one of the best. Well, it's great to have you on the show today, and I can tell you're ready to go. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about strategies and philosophies for a coach, okay? So we're going to hit this board and let you show everybody what you can do.
Okay, love it.
All right.
All right.
All right, Coach. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some strategies and philosophies. And I know you was a video coordinator at Auburn. So what we're going to do is we're going to touch on that notion. We're going to get into being a video coordinator. So I know you saw a lot of footage on a lot of things. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss some of the notions of what y'all did offensively at that time and when you were at Auburn. Okay, so let's talk about some of the sets that y'all ran when you was at Auburn. What was your philosophy?
Oh man, so I worked for a gentleman, Joe Champy, who eventually was inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. And as basketball coaches, as you know, the best coaches are best copycatters. And in 2000, all right, if you can believe this, now they're the Brooklyn Nets, but it was the New Jersey Nets, Jason Kidd, Kittles, gosh, you can help me out with some more.
It was,
gosh.
Well, you talking about Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles,
yes.
Kenya Martin, Richard Jefferson?
Yeah, they were the team, the NBA. And so they ran the Princeton offense. So as a video coordinator, obviously my summer project while my head coach was gone was to get that film. You know, that's how I told you earlier how I got into this profession. Was technology was just moving in sports. It used to be VHS to VHS, but now it moved to a digital format where you could chop it up in a computer, organize it nice, where you could just really break down playbooks. And so from that, he was a coach that you got to understand. We were in the SEC, and in 2000, Tennessee women's basketball was the team. Okay, and again, what made him a smart coach is not necessarily doing what the other great teams did. You had to be different. You had to give them something to prepare for, to give you a chance to win every night. So he was big on the Princeton offense. Okay. All right. And let's talk about the Princeton. So the Princeton, all right, and why it fit us good at Auburn. It was, first of all, we didn't have the best one-on-one players. All right. So we had to have an offense that had 5 players that could work together to break down the defense. All right, especially in the post. We were undersized. We weren't just gonna play power basketball. So what I love about the Princeton is first and foremost, there's a lot of spacing. So this was our general areas that we would always come down, all right, when we would set up. We're not high transition. All right, we had to win ugly. All right, a typical game for us back in the day was if we could win it, keep it in the 60s, we had a chance. Drive the other team crazy. So first and foremost in the Princeton, what we love about it, again, is spacing. We're not trying to get in a power basketball game. You know, when you're playing somebody with power, you know, 6'5", 6'6", obviously advantage defense if you got a 6'1" post player, right? So now let's get them uncomfortable. Let's space them out. So what we would love to do is we'd love to shift the defense with a simple dribble weave. All right, when that action would occur, we would screen away. All right, and what I'm going to show you first is that the defense never took anything away. All right, and then I'm going to talk later about if they took something away, how we would automatically go into the next options. All right, so again, it's all about spacing and being in the right part of the floor. So when this dribble handoff occurred, 2's responsibility after the dribble handoff, it was always to dribble lane line extended. All right, and I'll explain that later. 3, when they screen away, again, lane line extended to put us in perfect formation to make the next read. All right. So here we go. We got 3 and 4 who would alternate. 2 would make a nice short pass because, again, this pass was available. We would set a back screen, all right, with a quick ball reversal. Now, on this quick ball reversal, our first option, all right, was to look for this quick action right here. Because, again, back in the day in 2000, we wanted the bigs out. This is before the movement that we have now. So now this would give us an easy look because a lot of bigs don't know how to guard in space. Do I give help? Do I not? Boom, boom, right? All right, from there, all right, we got 4 with the ball. We got 2 here, 3, all right, and 1 opposite, all right, and 5 at the elbow. What we loved with our team that we had at Auburn at that time, we had big guards. Again, I started off telling you, we didn't have the most skillful one-on-one, so we could beat you with cuts, down screens, in spacing, we had a chance to win every night. So our 3 guard was actually 6'1". And on the perimeter, that's hard because if you can shoot the ball and you can post up, you are now a matchup problem. Which is funny when you look at today's basketball. It seems like everybody, Kevin Durant, all the big-time players, you know, they're all kind of positions. Of course. So for women's basketball, that's a game changer if you can have a kid who can post up and play on the perimeter. All right? So what we wanted to do is after that back screen occurred and we couldn't get a layup, we wanted to dive the 3 right away and let's get a little post-up pressure, right? When that was occurring, we had off-ball timing where this action was with a down screen, which was our best shooter. Our 4 was a highly skilled kid who can make this pass, or we could hit up our big guard for an easy post-up.
So back screen, re-screen.
Yeah. And then from there, the last part, and again, this is if the defense didn't take away any options, all right, we would clean this up. All right, 5 after the down screen would have 2 feet in the paint. So this is the ideal time if we don't have the shot that we're nailing the 5 with a great post position to score quickly. And then we would clean it up with a simple down screen here to get our 3 back out, where our 2 could hit the 3 or throw it into the 4. All right? So that was our simple. If the defense doesn't do anything, let's just wear them out, beat them by screening, and play power basketball.
Yeah. So, I mean, the execution is there. You got back screens, you got a re-screen, you got a wide down screen early.
Yeah.
Right? And all these are scoring cuts. That's the thing about it.
Right.
And they lead into an action and an activity for possibility of a score, which is what you want. And it's doing it all over the floor. And the thing is, it's not bottled down to one person specifically. So, I mean, that's a good notion. That's a good offense to run.
Yeah, and one part I want to show you here that I love about the Princeton, again, it's a read and react. So I'm going to take you to a part where now we have a problem. Okay? And the beauty of it is, especially with team basketball, if we have a problem, but we're all on the same page, we got a chance to solve that problem, right? So let's take this, let's start over again. We got the dribble handoff. 2, again, is supposed to go lane line extended.
Of course.
All right, but now we have a great defender who's has scattering port defense, X3, who shoots the gap and denies this pass. So, again, when you run the Princeton, there's parts of it that you teach that you got to be committed, that you got to know how to go right into the next action. So what we would do if that situation would occur, and we could not reverse the ball to 3, we would automatically dribble, I can't see you, outside foot, reverse pivot, and again, this is where spacing is important. We always wanted to make sure 1 was above the free throw line extended.
Very cool.
They could, if X1, because usually as the ball's going away, they're jumping to help. But when you reverse pivot, all right, if it's an aggressive team, exactly like you said, if they shoot the gap, back door, because X5 is not in position to get this pass right there, right? Or what we would do is we would call it reverse, chin reverse. It was automatic. We go, we can't throw it, we would turn around, everybody would be yelling, reverse. Okay, so now we're going to beat it again with cutting. 2 would make the pass to 1. And then we would go right into this UCLA. Again, X3 was denying here. So 2 made the pass to 1. And now here we go, single double. 3 would dive, 4 would go here. We would try to hit that UCLA cut. If that was not available, then we would go single double, which obviously is a double screen on the back side and a single screen on this side. And we would try to get something.
There you go.
So, now we're picking apart. So again, this worked great for my time at Auburn because 1, we didn't have the tallest post players. And 2, we didn't have the best just one-on-one get you the ball and create. So we had to find a way to have chemistry within 5 players. That, again, like I said, we had a tall 3 player. We had a 5 who was skilled. So this gave us the best opportunity to win, not in and not out.
But also, maybe, of course, on the initial dribble handoff between the 1 and the 2, they may switch that. But every other action, really, you can't switch because it's a back screen, a stagger screen. There's not a ball scenario involved now unless your team has the premise of just switching exchanges defensively to try and take away. But once again, with the way this offense is operating, you can't really do that. And then, like, if they take away 1, you got your counter right here with the ball screen, and you got the stagger, which is a good action because now everybody's occupied over here because you may get, if the 4 is not even in position 9 times out of 10, okay, the low guy may be there to help on the roll, which is the 3. That person, that defender may be able to help because the 2 is rolling out. But once again, if the 2, when they're coming off, that defender tries to help on the roll. When that 1 is coming off, they're going to be open.
Yeah, amen.
So, so.
That's exactly right. And another point to your part, what was great for us is this is an offense that's going to involve several passes. So again, when you got those teams that just want to run you out of the gym, they want quick shots and quick passes. When you played against Auburn during our time, you knew you had to be willing to defend 5 to 6, but at the same time, if you don't guard the first one, we'll beat you with an easy layup.
Now in 2000, the shot clock was...
Yeah, it was still 30. It was still 30 for the women, So that's one part, though, as a coach for me, I like the game fast. And what's been fun, and especially in the women's game, is the attendance and growth. And in order, as we all know, people want to be entertained. Nobody's coming to watch a 32-30 college basketball game. So if we can get that thing high scoring and making quick plays, it's always fun for the fans and it's fun for the coaches.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Now, what we're going to do now is, okay, we discussed the offensive premise. So what was y'all defensive principles that we're going to touch on next? So let's discuss, once again, I know being a video coordinator, you saw all types of things defensively, offensively. So let's talk about when you were there at Auburn, what was your defensive premise? What was the defensive notion? Were you a man-to-man, a trap team, full court pressing team? What was it that y'all liked to do?
Yeah, so again, obviously, the coach I worked for, Joe Champion, was phenomenal and smart. He worked at a school that wasn't the top at the time at Auburn, so he had to be different, not only offensively, but defensively. And so defensively, he was a Northeast guy in Philly, New York, and that area was big on the matchup zone at the time.
Matchup zone.
Okay, yeah, so he lived and died on the matchup zone, so I was fortunate.
When I was here at Spalding, we played matchup zone, so I know the premise.
Okay.
It depends, because people run when they say matchup zone, some people do it differently, but what you're talking.
Yeah, so I mean, so it's just the general part. Obviously, there's man principles to it. All right, our first thing, again, with the shot clock that we mentioned on the offensive part, you wanted the same mindset defensively. The more I can take time off the shot clock, the less you have time to pass the ball and break down our zone.
Of course.
So what we would do on made baskets, all right, we would have a pickup person, and we call him the pirate. We get into it. You got to build it, you got to sell it. Because if you just say pirate, you're like, but if you're like, and then you refer to it, it's some reason they start playing harder. It's amazing. So if we're going this way, we wanted our two guard, who's our best athlete, to pick that ball up by right here and in the front court and just turn it 2 times. Let's see if we can get them not set up to confuse the offensive team. Are you in man? Are you in zone? Because we wouldn't mix it up, man and misses, and throw different things. But we would want to be in a stretched tandem, all right? And we'd want our best rebounder to be here opposite ball, because 70% of the offenses always start to the right. And most of the shots are on this side. So we charted a lot of our shots that this area had to be important. So this person needed to be our best rebounder. So the 3 and the 4 are interchangeable. The 5 obviously is anchoring the defense.
Of course.
So what we wanted to do is, again, to slow this ball down. If they immediately got beat, these 2 are interchangeable. This one could go, and this one could replace.
Of course.
And then we're just trying to force them high and wide outside of their offense. And the beauty of a zone, as you know, not many teams have a zone offense. So for us to scout, and again, when I was coming through, technology was huge. Video coordinators really became huge for the game. We could tell the other team's offense and really set our team up for success and understand how we wanted to guard actions, because they just didn't have a lot of zone sets compared to man.
Yeah, a lot of movement. There wasn't much movement.
Yeah. So, what started off in a 1-1 extended 3, what obviously as the ball crosses half court, okay, would fall in, all right, to a 1-2-2. All right. I had the 4 over here, the 3, and the 5. And what our rules was, we'd be in a tandem, because we never wanted the ball in the middle of the floor. All right. Once that ball has been passed and established to a side in one of these areas, anywhere over here, then we would bump this 3 and the 4, anything free throw line extended. And this person would drop. And again, we wanted that ball to go as much as we wanted east around this perimeter right here. But nothing north and south.
Of course. So, I mean, really, you put that person at the 10, because 9 times out of 10 in the zone, most teams are going to sit that person at the free throw. So you've taken that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the premise after that, which is depending on what the philosophy is, which I'll let you have that, but really that's why you tandem it up, so they can't make that easy pass to the middle. Because if they come right down there with a hit right to the middle, you got problems.
Yeah, and we wanted to form a wall. Again, we didn't have the best athletes, and why this defense worked for us. But if we could keep you in between the ball and the basket and find a body and hit you early and keep you out, we had a chance to rebound and win the rebound war.
There you go.
And that was our philosophy. And in shooting, there's a lot of people who can shoot, but how many people can make shots?
Gotcha.
And with stats and scouting, obviously we would change our closeout based on strengths and weaknesses. Gotcha. If you're a level A shooter, I'm aware of where you're at all times.
Because when I was at UofL with Patino, we ran that. But the question is, now after that, if the ball went to a certain area, did you go man?
You know what? That's the beauty of it. So he was phenomenal. He would take tendencies. So let's say you always were a coach who always started your zone offense with a pass to the right.
Okay.
All right? Out of a timeout, we would trap that first pass. Because we knew you were going to pass it to the right, because we've seen everything on film. You're predictable.
Yeah.
Right? Or there's some coaches that are so good that have players that they can break down a zone defense. We call it 72 or 73. 72 is 2 passes. We're in zone. But that third pass, we're going man.
Yeah.
All right, we're trying to confuse and make you passive.
Gotcha.
But again, it all came down to what are you trying to do to beat the zone, and then that's the beauty of the matchup. We're matching up to what you do well, and we can adjust our zone defense to put us in positions to be well.
But then also, I mean, typically what we would do is, with Patino, what we would do is if it went to the middle,
Correct.
went man.
Right.
Now sometimes what you would like to do is give if the team is really on the same in sync, if everybody's on the same page, you're not going to completely, if it's early in the shot clock, say they may be able to hit that middle early in the shot clock, but you really don't want to break the zone that early. If they kick it back out and you're able to construct it back, you're back in it. And now once again, that's how it depends on how good your team is. If they're all on the same page, are they thinking like you're thinking?
Right.
Instead of just
Amen.
going, everybody's going rogue. No, but I mean, we had that notion. But if it got late in the shot clock, 12 seconds, hit that middle, we're man, we're staying, lock it down.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. It's again, that's where the beauty of, what are you willing to give up, right? For him, it's how many mid-range shots you can hit. That's the lost art over my 20 years of basketball, and it's even funny to watch Carmelo Anthony for Portland. The guy was literally out of a job because he was a mid-range jump shooter. It's either threes or layups. So for us, there was never really many free throw jumpers. And if there was, what we wanted to do to answer your question on how to defend, because I know you mentioned you went man with Patino, we want to dig, okay? And what I mean by that is if the ball went here, our 5 would be in a position that we don't blitz it too fast, that we give a dump pass to allow our outside people to drop, obviously, because now the ball's in the middle of the floor. But then our 1s and 2s would get in here, where if they just put it on the floor, we want to make them throw it back out. And again, how many shots can you make? Our philosophy, we wanted high hands at all times. We wanted deflections. We wanted to stay in front of you, all right, in the ball, and be in great rebounding position. And if we did that, that's what we valued. We liked our chances to win the game. Because again, we were going to kill you offensively and make it ugly. So what's that do for the other team? If we're making you play ugly and work 7 passes, now you want to hurry and take up a quick shot. Now you're taking quick shots. We're in great rebound position. And you know what? We knocked off a lot of big-time opponents during those years. And that's why he's a Hall of Fame coach, because he was willing to understand that he knew what he could recruit at the school, but put a system in place to have a chance to win every night. And that's what coaching is about.
Now, I know the term, we said matchup zone. Now, when I was here at Spalding, we played matchup zone, but our premise was different. We had the Ferris wheel. I'm pretty sure you know what I mean by that. But so your 5's in the middle, okay? It doesn't matter 3, 4, okay, and your 2 and 1, okay. So we'll say the offense comes down, and you're here, here, and here.
Right.
Okay. Push that down a little bit further. Okay. Now, what we're going to say is you're going to match up to the left or right of your teammate. If the ball starts here, we're going to say the ball starts here. Okay.
Yep.
If the ball is hit here, or let's reset that. What you're going to do is find yourself matching up toward or taking the ball. So if the ball is here, okay, you're going to match up to who's in their area. And we're going to say this is the 5-man for the offense. We're going to say that's the 5-man. So what we know is the 5-man in the middle has got to match up with that 5-man, wherever he's at. I don't care if he's here, if the 5-man's here, or if he's here. We know that he's his man in the circumstance. But he's the middle of the Ferris wheel.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So now, if that's the case, okay, let's clean that back up. So, sorry. All right, so the 5's here. That's the defense. Okay, and we're here. Now, we're going to say the 2's going to match up here. Okay, we're going to say we're matched up here, you're matched up here, and that's your man. Okay. Now, say we're still in man. We still got man principle. I mean, we still got man principles within the zone. So if the ball is swung here, okay, and say hypothetically, okay, this offensive player cuts through here.
Right.
Whose man is that?
For you guys?
For defensively.
Oh, for us?
No, I'm talking about for us.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So what would be is the next man to receiver. So the 4's here.
Yep.
The 3's there. The 1's man cut through. So that means the 3's now got to take him. 1 drops back and takes his. So now, and we'll say hypothetically from that standpoint, so the 4's guarding, 1 went through, 3 got it. And once again, the 5 is still locked in with the 5-man. So the 5's here. Okay, we said the 4 took the ball here. This man cut through. Okay, so now we're saying the 3 matched up here. The 1 had to drop back, take him. Okay, and we're saying the 2 is still matched up here. If this person has the ball and they dribble with it, I don't care what they dribble with, they push over, you're still matched up. you're still matched up. You're still man. But you got zone principle. So now, if they get here and they pass it over here, and then they cut through, say they cut through. So when I hear the term sometimes, people play it differently. People have it differently. So we'll say the ball is here. You're matched up here, okay? We'll say the 2 is matched up here. And we'll say the 3 and the 4. And we'll say their man is here, okay? And we're saying the ball is swung and it's here. We're just saying hypothetically movement.
Right.
Okay, now, this person cuts through. Not saying that you would do that because of the nature of the overload, but we're just saying in reference to who do we take.
For sure.
So if they cut through, we got to overload, but we'll just say this person starts to drift. If this person starts to drift, you take him, and the 4's got to move up and take the next to the right of him. You see that?
Yep.
So
what would your terminology be? Just bump up, or?
Well, we're not saying bump because there is no bump.
Okay.
The nature is we're switching.
Okay, yeah.
We're saying switch. You got him, hand off.
Yeah.
See, the communication now is it's constant talking.
Oh, yeah.
Because if a person cuts through, like if you're guarding the ball, you're on ball.
Oh, yeah.
If you're on ball, just say hypothetically, you're on ball, and a person cuts from low to high, and I'm next to you.
Right.
I got to shift over now, take this person next to you.
Right.
Or if I'm over here, your man swings it to me, you cut through. Let's just say we're matched up now. You're here. You're here. Okay. So you're here. Boom. Okay. 5 still matched up. That's the 5 man. He's low. Okay. And we're saying here. Ball's here. Okay. And we're going to say hypothetically the 3 wants to cut through in here. Now he's going to go in with him. Okay. He's got to go with him. But if this man darts up into this area, okay, and understand this, he's right here. He may drag a little bit, okay? He's got to get underneath and now take him, and the 3's got to take him. You see that?
I love it. Yeah. No, it's funny because, as coaches, the matchup, like you're saying, I mean, first of all, how confusing if you're an offensive team. What are they doing? Are you man? Are you
understand this. We understand this. We it's funny because we won a lot of games because of that.
Yeah.
Because the one Achilles heel we would have with that, and you have to understand this, in order to be a good defense or a good player or a good person in general, you got to know what your weaknesses is so you can erase your weakness.
Right.
So you get better at it. So the one scenario that could catch it is, like nowadays, you got a lot of pick and roll. And you can run a man offense versus it. So if the 5 really gets involved in the notion of setting ball screens, now the 5 man in the middle of it has to really play that circumstance like a man.
Right.
So now he's pulled out of that middle of that Ferris wheel.
Yep.
But he still has that middle responsibility. So he's got to do a good job of, now as you're saying, it appears to be a lot of confusion. But imagine if your defense know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
So,
right.
So we're saying offensively comes up, sets the ball screen. Now they're still sitting here in zone principle.
Right.
Okay, you're sitting here in zone principle. Now what you would say is, well, why don't the 2 come over here and play that? Well, what you don't want to do is now you don't want to take him out of responsibility of knowing that his man.
Right.
And the thing is now, really, you're still matched up. Now you start to create guys getting out of whack. Now they're getting off balance. The Ferris wheel is getting off balance now.
Right.
The matchups was getting thrown off. So you want the 5, he's got to come up here and play the circumstance like man. You still help with man principles. So if he comes off and this guy rolls, yeah, you would play that like you would play the backside row.
Right.
Like you would. But you still got to get back to your man and allowing him to get back to his man. He's got to stick with that 5. Everybody else, you're handing off when you're supposed to hand off. You stay with the ball when you're supposed to stay with the ball. I don't care if he dribbles from this side of the floor all the way around it. We just Ferris wheel around it.
Oh, yeah.
You stay with your man. Now, once the guy cuts from one area to one area, you got to know when to hand him off and when to release.
Right. No, I love it. I love it, especially the ball screen, because as you know, if you set a ball screen in the middle of the floor, everybody, that one zone shooter is like, just set that screen, penetrate, kick, let me get one. But to your point, now that option's not there because of how your rotation was, which that's the beauty of basketball. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. All right, Coach. So now what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the time frame when you were at Tulsa. We're going to talk about what you learned and the philosophies and strategies you guys had there. So if you would, let's just touch a little bit on the offensive philosophies and concepts that y'all had there.
Yeah, for sure. So, we go from Auburn, SEC power basketball. At the time in 2000, that was in women's basketball, the best conference in the country. I get my first opportunity at a mid-major, which is the best thing that could happen to me because now I don't have the same players. I don't have as many players because at Auburn we had a deep bench, 12, 13. Now at Tulsa, all right, we inherited a great group. All right, and it was a first for everything. They've never been to the NCAA tournament. They never won a conference championship. So those are words that you love to hear when you're a new coaching staff, because now you got a chance to take it from here and take it to another level. And so for us, my coach was extremely smart, Charlene Thomas-Swinson. She played in the WNBA, longtime assistant, had a head coaching, but her philosophy was way different from the coach and the gentleman that I just got done working for, who was a Hall of Fame coach. She was all about being simple, all right? How can we keep it simple and let players who do what they do well and put them in a position to just do what you do? I don't want you thinking about a million plays. I don't want you thinking about a million strategies. You are a great player who can make shots. Let's do that. And it was amazing. By keeping it simple, all right, and I always ask her, hey, what about this play? She would always respond, Sam, I don't care. It's what they know. They got to stop it, right? Whereas some coaches are so worried that you've got me down that we need a new play, new something to throw at them. And so I think it really forced those kids that we coach, even though we were simple, you knew you had to get open. There was no counters. So get open, right? Whereas earlier we talked about the Princeton, if you weren't open, we were going to counter B, counter C. So it's amazing how a tone by a head coach can influence your offense. And that's what it was. It was just simple basketball, who kids loved the fact that we were new coaches with new ideas. And we won. The Conference USA regular season and tournament, and we had an upset. We were a 12 seed. March Madness, right? We were the historical 5-12 matchup, and we beat NC State in the first round.
Well, there you go.
And I'll never forget it. And it was a magical ride with a group of kids that just allowed us to coach them, and I'll be forever grateful for that opportunity.
Well, awesome. Now, what were some of the defensive principles that y'all had? What was that?
Yeah, so we did not want to get in foul trouble. So I go from the matchup with aggression, we talked about trapping in timeouts, to we did not have a bench. So we literally had to outscore you and hope you were not on, okay? If we got in foul trouble, we were in trouble, because again, we were a mid-major that didn't have depth.
Gotcha.
Tulsa, all right, I don't know if you know this, is the smallest Division I university undergrad in the country.
Really?
2,000 students. It's actually a high academic institution. We had players from overseas, kids that we took chances on that had torn ACLs that major Division I schools didn't want because they were hurt, that we were smart enough to say, hey, if we want to be a highly competitive program, we got to take a chance on the kid.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it was a mix of players, but that mix was really good. And they could shoot the ball, and like I said, if we could keep it simple and let them do what they did well and not get in foul trouble. We didn't need to get crazy. If you get crazy, we get a charge.
There you go.
Yeah, we get out of control. We start playing way too fast. We don't have a bench. So we want to control the tempo, keep people in front, and find a way to get out of there with a W.
All right, now, Coach, what we're going to talk about is your time at Georgia Tech and how that went and some of the philosophies that y'all had at that time.
Yeah. So this, again, I've been blessed by the good Lord. I started at Auburn, SEC. Then I go to a mid-major, Conference USA. Now I'm back in the ACC at Georgia Tech. But here's the thing. Georgia Tech, all right, at the time I was there at Georgia Tech, it didn't have a rich history. All right, it was always the program that a bunch of smart kids that just weren't good in basketball on the women's side. Now the men's side, unbelievable. They were Paul Hewitt had the men's program, national championship game. I mean, it was unbelievable. Because at the time, if you remember, NCAA rules were one and done.
Yeah.
You could go there. Those guys were living in Atlanta. They were out. But on the women's side, those opportunities did not exist. So the young ladies, it was important to understand, we were recruiting high academic kids. Because you had 2 degrees that you were going to do at Georgia Tech. Either engineering or business.
There you go.
Okay? And so the reason I bring this up, that really infected or challenged us as coaches in our philosophy, because the academic demand to be a student at Georgia Tech is unbelievable. I didn't have the luxury of extra 30 minutes or 45, because let me tell you a funny story. I'll never forget, and this is when I knew I was at a different university, when I asked the player, I said, hey, can we stay 30 more minutes because the shot wasn't right? And he said, Coach, I promise you, I got to leave because I got to go build a robot.
There you go. See? Yeah. But see, I don't think a lot of people know, especially with Georgia Tech, how much it's academic demand. I don't think they understand that.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time on time management. I had to make sure that they didn't come stressed. Again, basketball is a game you love. College should be the best 4 years of your life. So we had to have a mindset as a coaching staff. I necessarily couldn't challenge you because I already knew you were stressed out for the demands that you were up late at night studying. You were studying early in the morning. You didn't come to Georgia Tech to play around. You came to be a future business leader of tomorrow. and that was their slogan. And so we had to make sure at Georgia Tech, how can we recruit the tough kid, right? And we kept on saying, when we were there, Michelle Joseph did a phenomenal job. Again, I told you, before she got there, they never had any NCAA tournament success. She was able to establish an environment where we went 6 straight years to the NCAA tournament, which is unbelievable. Yeah. To think about, the young ladies that you have to recruit, but not only do we win in the classroom, but we won on the court.
Exactly.
And I'll be forever grateful for her and just learning her toughness, all right? Because a lot of times when you have that academic demand, it's easy to just, I'm gonna relax in basketball. But again, we kept talking about being tough. So our identity to win at Georgia Tech, we had to be tough. So let's talk about defense first.
There you go.
She wanted to press. We had to be different, just like Joe. All right, she actually worked for Joe Champion at Auburn, so she had that same defensive mindset. I wanted to do something that was totally different from everybody in the ACC. So we were a pressing team. All right, we led the nation in steals. We would press you full court. We'd trap on the first pass. We would delay. We'd do 2-2-1. We would do 2 passes back to man. We would do anything and everything to try to create turnovers because the young ladies that we recruit, again, weren't in the gym all night because they had academic demands. So if we were going to score, we needed to create turnovers and we needed tempo. All right, and that's what made us successful. We were going to box out. We were going to be physical. When you played Georgia Tech, you knew you better have the boxing gloves on because it's going to be a war.
There you go.
And if we were going to lose that game, it wasn't because we were not playing hard. And again, that's why we were able to have 6 years of success. Now with that though, in pressing and creating turnovers, you also got to be willing to give up high percentage shots. Yeah. And that's what got us ultimately never past the Sweet 16. It's because the better teams can pass the ball and you don't want to give them space. And we would never change our identity because again, we're going to stay true to who we are. Yeah. We're hoping that you can't handle the press, you can't handle the heat. And if that happened, those top 5 teams would be in trouble. But overall, the teams that were equal to us or a lesser level, then we would run them out of the gym because they just couldn't sustain the pressure that we would bring for 40 minutes.
So in reference to that notion, okay, y'all are a pressing team that really got after it. You mixed up your defenses.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in a half-court set defensively, was there any other type of concept y'all had defensively, man-to-man, zone, anything?
Yeah, great question. So again, it's all about being ugly. How can we play ugly basketball? And when I mean that by tough, so man, we'd want to switch everything. If you were a smaller guard, you would full front and you'd have great weak side help. We wanted to try to frustrate you, fluster you, deny you, take you out of your offense, and not give you anything.
So did you say you front the post?
We would front the post if we would switch with a guard.
So are you saying switch the ball, like switch handoffs, or would you switch exchanges?
Everything.
So y'all switched everything, exchanges and front the post.
Yeah.
Now that can really take a team out of offense. I mean, it really can, because now you're trying to figure out how I want to operate if this team's just switching exchanges in front of the post.
Yeah, and again, because we're coming out of the press, so we've already taken hopefully 15 to 20 seconds off the clock. So now you only working with 10 to 15, somewhere in that range. Yeah. So we're talking about 1 or 2 passes. Yeah. So if we can load the box, disrupt handoffs or passes, and then front the post where you can't get a quick entry, you're in trouble. Yeah.
So typically, from a point perspective, what was your, as far as scoring, what were you trying to shoot for? We're trying to score this. We're trying to average this offensively.
Yeah, it's more of a defensive tone because again, we weren't high offensive players, so we were praying that we could create turnovers that would lead to our offense. So we wanted our defense to create our offense.
Yeah. So what would you want to hold that team to then?
You know what? It wasn't so much a number. It was more of just we wanted to out-rebound our opponent, okay? And we wanted to create, a certain amount of turnovers. Let's say we wanted to have a game where if we could get, I don't remember because it's been, 9 or 10 years, but, 20 turnovers with 30 deflections.
Oh, if you got 20, 30, you better win.
Amen.
You better win with 20 steals and 30
Come on
deflections.
Now. Amen. So again, how can we make it ugly? And it was not so much numbers, it's a sense. It's like me and you having this conversation right now. There's a pulse about us that this is great. Just like basketball. I know ugly when you look defeated. If you're on your knees, you're not diving on the floor, you're looking for your coach to come and get you out the game, I got you right where I want it. You are not ready for this. And no matter what the stat is, I've already won the game.
There you go.
Because I'm mentally tougher than you. And again, that's all we preach to our kids. Be the toughest kid on the floor. And let's make this game ugly and let's see if we can find a way to win.
Gotcha. All right, now with that notion from an offensive standpoint, what type of offense did y'all bring to that complemented what you were trying to do defensively?
Yeah, so we struggled. So again, if we didn't score out of the press, offense was a prey. I'm just gonna be honest, okay? Because again, it's who can we recruit? You know, you're not just getting anybody. Obviously, we were great recruiters, but you ain't getting every kid into Georgia Tech.
Now, I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're high intelligence. So, what kind of offense was
Amen.
that? Motion? What
Well, yeah,
Justin, what was it?
no, we didn't do that because again, to reference back from the beginning, we didn't have time afterwards to do long practices. We needed to keep our windows short. Our kids' brains were fried because of the demand. Again, academically, that institution brought to the basketball side. So we had to understand where we're at, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you didn't want to stay 4 hours of practice, and then now that kid's going to build a robot, and now they can't build that robot because then they ain't going to score that game, okay? Right? So
they got to get that robot doing.
yeah, so we try to make it simple. She was big. Again, we didn't have the kid that was the best in the ACC at the time, so we wanted to do a lot of high on-ball power basketball, but post up above the block. Put you in a position where what are you going to do defensively? Are you going to three-quarter? If you're going to do that, we're going to try to beat you with high-lows. If you're going to play straight behind, we're going to throw it into the post, reverse pivot, and beat you with our speed. We didn't have that just traditional basketball player where if I can get you in this area, you're going to go to work. I had to play off of how you were defending me. And then we would work on that every single day where we would try to keep it simple, where if you're playing behind, I go right to the reverse pivot. If you're above me, you know what's going to my post partner. I'm going to try to drive them up the lane and get an easy layup. Because again, if I can get as much easy on offense and make it tough on defense, we had a chance to win at Georgia Tech, and we did, for 6 straight years, which I mentioned we made to the NCAA tournament. So she was a heck of a coach. Yeah. I mean, she was brilliant in understanding who to recruit and how to win.
Sounds like some good stuff right there, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Now we're going to talk about your time frame at UofL, which is current. I mean, you guys are doing a great job. You're tearing it up in the country. So let's just talk about, I really don't want you to give away the secret sauce. I know you're not going to give it all to me, but let's try and touch on some of the philosophies and strategies you guys have offensively with the team and the talent you have.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Coach Walls obviously is one of the top 5 coaches in women's basketball currently right now. And I'm not just saying that because I'm his assistant. Stats prove it, right?
Yeah, you got to tell me.
I mean, first you look at his timeline. He inherited, he got the job. The program had never been past the Sweet 16. And this is what makes him good to answer your question about his philosophy. All right? It wasn't about what he was going to do. It was his job to empower the players to have the confidence to get past the Sweet 16. All right? And what he does a great job is managing people, all right, and the game. All right? And what I mean that by people is us as assistants, his job is to go out and find the best people and empower them to coach and teach. There's other coaches that are just, it's my way or the highway. So there's an environment established that, look, we're all in this together. We all have a voice. It's not just me. And when you have that first dynamic, you can do a lot of special stuff.
There you go.
And then the second thing is his philosophy offensively is to win. All right? There's not a structure. All right? Each year, we're able to go out and recruit the best players in the world. All right? And because of that, what we're going to do is, let's say you're a great driver. All right, and our offense was based on down screens. Well, we're going to throw that out when you're there because, again, what you do best is you need space and you need to get downhill. And I think that goes unnoticed for what makes him such a good coach because he's willing to adapt and change to the players he recruits and put them in possession to be successful. And that's why, ultimately, we win.
All right, well, let's see what kind of offensive sets y'all set up now. What do y'all like to do? And the thing is, y'all have had so much immense talent, and it's been in different varies. So I'm pretty sure you've had to adjust offenses and certain things y'all do because of the talent y'all have had. So what are some of the offenses y'all looking to do?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to 2018, okay, which that was our Final Four run.
So you just got a timeline.
Oh, yeah.
You got a timeline on this. Huh?
This was the team. This one hurts, but it's the most fun to talk about because we had a chance to win a national championship.
There you go.
Okay? So, again, we get to recruit the best players in the country. And when you do that, it's funny, like we're going out next week to go recruiting in July. All right? And when we go and scout these young women, they're just playing. There's not much sets. There's a little, but again, you're watching and evaluating them just playing the game at a fast tempo. So what we learned is why change someone from the way they played on the high level players that we get, and then all of a sudden handcuff them and put them a bunch of structure where now they're not doing what they've naturally done for the first 15 years, right? Credit to Jeff Walls. So he changed his philosophy from running a bunch of sets to the dribble drive offense. Because again, I've got 5 great players on the floor. And it's important. If you can have 5 skilled kids, all right, or young women on the floor, you got a chance to run this. But if you don't, you're going to have to find some ways to wrinkle it to make it successful.
There you go.
All right, so the dribble drive is all about gaps and opportunity to attack downhill. Okay? So let's start with the point guard. All right? You want your 2 in the deep corner. All right? And I'm going to put these boxes here because we actually tape our floor on the practice floor so they know what spot and spacing so we don't have to overteach.
There you go.
If you're not in the box,
then you ain't right. You're not correct.
Right. I ain't got to waste my time on that. Next. All right, next kid in, because obviously you can't understand that. All right?
Now, real quickly about
Yeah.
that. Real quickly about that notion you just said, and which kids have got to understand.
Right.
What did you just say? What did you just said? If you ain't in that box, next.
Next, right.
You see, and they got to understand, like at this level, I shouldn't have to repeat myself over and over again. There's the box. Get in it. If you're not in it, next.
We'll find someone who can.
It's that simple.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And again, that goes to Coach Walls. I'm not going to demand. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to focus my time and attention on stuff that I shouldn't have to.
No.
You have a responsibility, and that's what we can help them do. When you come to college, it's time to grow up. It's
Exactly.
our responsibility to take you from your parents who have lit that torch. And it's our job in 4 years to brighten that torch and make it brighter by the time you leave. So in order that, you got to grow up and you got to listen.
and they got to understand another thing that we don't have to do at this level is we don't have time to motivate you.
Yeah.
That should be automatic.
Oh, for sure.
That's automatic. If you can't come in motivated, then we got a problem. Because I'm coaching something else other than basketball.
Amen. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because here's the question we ask every recruit here at Louisville. All right, and it's simple. The first thing we ask them: do you like basketball or do you love basketball?
Because that's a difference. That's a difference.
Come on now. Listen, if you love basketball, I'm the school for you. I don't have to call you in the gym. We working. Like after practice, we have a long one. You trying to challenge me for 15 more minutes, work on your left hand that you just dribbled 3 turnovers on. But if you like basketball, I am not the school for you, because we are too passionate. The demands and the competition we're going to play is way too much for you just to like it.
Yeah, because they got to understand there's a difference between habit and love.
Right.
Like I say, a lot of kids have been doing it because it's habit.
Right.
The kids had them in the gym. They had them doing this and say, well, so it's a habit. They know it's a habit. But if you took a moment to where you take the habit out of them, you'll notice if they love it or not.
Amen.
So to me, some of these kids, it's a habit. It's not the love. It's just what I've been doing.
Yeah, and that's where we're honest in the recruiting process. If you like basketball, it's okay. Go to a school where it's okay just to like it. But don't sign at a bigger school because it looks good on the front end, and then you're going to transfer on the back end. Right? So, amen. It's amazing.
There you go.
So keep it simple. So, to the dribble drive. So again, we want great spacing. All right, and what makes this offense unique, all right, is most offenses always start on ball side, right? But not in the dribble drive. We want opposite. All right, we want them on the opposite block. Now, if this is the block, we want them nice and low. Why? One, this is going to create a great opportunity to get downhill past my first defender. Because again, I'm recruiting the best players in the world. All right, so this kid who can handle the ball.
That's a great luxury to have.
I'm sitting back with my feet up, and I'm just like, let's go. We know, like, do what you do. Okay?
You already know.
And again, we draw 10,000 fans. So our fans love to watch this kind of brand of basketball.
There you
It's
go.
going to be fast-paced. We're going to take quick shots, and we're okay with that.
Now, my question is, when you kick your feet up, you got the shoes on?
Oh, you know it. Come on now. Bow tie, jacket. Oh, it's a lifestyle. Hey, look, I tell the kids all the time, if I look good, we're going to play good.
You already know. It's already written.
Yeah. If I don't bring it, they're like, Coach, what's up, man? Don't be slick. You can't be telling me to pick it up, but then you coming in slouch. Come on, man. So we got a good environment with the team.
Yeah, there you go.
So X5, let's go back to why it's important that she is below the block. All right, because most defenses, as you know, are always stretched to the ball, right? So if I can actually get in an area where I am below and even with this rim, now all of a sudden you kind of, it's like, hide and go seek. What's going on? Why you behind me all of a sudden, right? And it puts pressure on. So they got to decide, do I stay connected to you? Because if ball handler gets by and you're here, well, I got a layup. But if you go and bluff, whatever your terminology is, now I'm in great rebounding position where if X1 can recover and we can kiss this and miss it high off the glass, now I'm in great rebounding position for the putback.
There you go.
All right? So those two parts right there, because as you know, if you have a great point guard and you got a great center and we can go right here 50% of the time in the dribble drive, you in trouble. It's a long night. You go in zone because you know you can't keep us in front. And when you can't keep us in front, you can't keep us off the glass. And that's our coach's worst nightmare when those two things are happening. And then from there, all right, it's all about spacing and read and react. So again, it's all about our practice court. It's all about how we train. Because if you train the right way, when you get into the game, you should have no problems. We all understand what we're supposed to do.
Should be happy.
Right. And again, if this kid that we joked about earlier is not in the corner, you know the funny thing is that horn can get real loud. And you know you coming out and having a seat.
Automatic.
You had one job. Okay? So from here, let's have fun. All right? And this is why I love this offense because, again, we've got highly skilled kids that understand how to move without the basketball and play off of each other. So one, when they get downhill, we call it the drop box. All right, 2 has to stay patient until they get to this drop box. If they get past it, it's an automatic lift. Why? Because what is X2's defenders going to do? They're going to pinch in and help because obviously X1 has been beaten off the bounce.
Oh, well.
Okay?
Question.
Yeah.
Now, some philosophies are,
Yep.
don't leave ISO corner.
Amen.
So,
Right.
if you don't leave ISO corner, this would probably be the rotation. But we'll just.
No, I like that. Leave that for me. Let's do this. I want to play with that.
Let's go ahead and do what you were doing.
Okay.
We'll get to that second.
Oh,
So let's
yeah.
go ahead and go where you go.
Oh, man, you had me fired up. I want those scenarios.
I know. I'm going to
Okay.
give it to you. I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, so obviously X2 pinches in, so this is an automatic lift pass. We're just, we teach this. We break down in skill development. We're not stopping and jump stopping. It's got to be on point because, again, my defender is on my hip. You were coming in from a gap. I got to get off this ball, and a nice lead pass is going to get you an easy shot. Because, again, you're one of the best shooters in the country, or else I didn't recruit you for the right reasons, all right? I need you to knock down this shot, right? So, boom, we coming out the gate. We putting tempo on you right away. You're like, oh, my God, one pass, they shoot. We bring in the heat. Now, let's play your scenario, all right? Do not leave ball side. That's fine. Because, first of all, again, I'm getting downhill. I got the best point guard in the country, so.
Because you got to understand, if a team is really spacing like they're supposed to, and the way you guys are spacing,
Yeah.
that is an ISO corner. And just a simple gamble or simple jab, if it's a real good passer, like that knows how to pass the ball in the right time, as soon as you take that jab, they're going to hit them immediately. It's the shot. So
Yeah.
you're not even going to get there.
Yeah.
So now you want to create a rotation from the backside. But once again, let's go ahead.
I love it. Oh, hey, come on, fist pound. You set me up for success because, look, this is what I want. All right, so now let's do it like you said. All right, this was Asia Durr who hit the shot. Do not give Asia Durr another shot. You face guard her. Do not leave her. Okay, so we're taking away this option. They are glued to the hip. No, coach, I ain't coming out.
Gotcha.
You got me once, you ain't get me twice. So now, like you said, let's attack this backside. X1 is beating off the bounce. We are putting pressure on X5 and X3. We're just going to talk about these people now. One gets downhill, right? X5 has to rotate because you decided you were not leaving strong side.
Exactly.
Perfect. So now, again, this is why it's beautiful that 5 is opposite of the ball. One has a layup, so you have to commit or else I'm getting this layup. And I can go for 30 right here unless you rotate. So now you're rotating, so now who has to rotate over?
3 got to get in there.
X3. So here is the beauty of this offense. Again, X3 is staying deep in the corner. You are not allowed to leave, like I mentioned earlier, for 2 until they get past the drop box. You are both lifting. So we call this the open window. Okay, where I am going to drop, X3 is going to drop in front of 5. There is nobody to rotate on 3. So we worked on this pass every day in practice. You would come down and you would see X3 drop. You would automatically jump and leave your feet because most coaches say, do not leave your feet. But for us in this offense, we would leave our feet and throw it. And if 3 was not in the open window, we did not take the point guard out. And 3 would go out because you were not in your spot. And this shot was all day, every day.
Now, if we're going to say defensively, okay, offensively, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
Now, if we're scouting, we know that that's what you do.
Yep.
You drive baseline. She rolls over. She gets in there. We've got to zone the backside. Like Phoenix Suns did that perfectly against this last series. I forgot which one. I love it. And they hit, and this guy zoned it.
Amen.
So now, because whichever, if they stay here or stay there, it doesn't matter. 3 stays there, or if they lift like you're saying. At the end of the day, if everybody does their job, and your teammates are going to trust you. So typically what's going to happen, if this person right here, if the X3 knows that nobody's going to be over here helping me, I'm not going to really get in there like I'm supposed to because I got to recover to that pass. I may sit on the top side of 5.
Right.
So if it looks like she may make the pass, but then she skips it, I got to get out of there.
Amen.
But if you trust your teammates, because now this teammate's got a zone. So the first pass that comes out of here, if it hits the 3 or the 4, you take that first pass, now I can get out.
Amen.
Or if it goes over here, then they can rotate over and you can rotate. However that strategy is for your coach. But that should be a zone right there.
Oh, yeah.
Zone reach.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And again, the reason it worked for us at Louisville is I had better players.
Exactly.
So you can do all you want to do defense. But as you know, if my players are better than your players and we don't turn it over, I got a chance to beat you no matter how hard you playing, right?
There you go.
So again, that's why I referenced to 2018 because we should have won the national championship, okay? That's why I'm passionate about this in this offense.
There you go.
Because to your point, great defense, it wants to disrupt better offenses. But what we would do in that situation, if you X'd out on the backside, it's a quick +1.
Yeah,
and this kid can shoot.
Because at the end of the day, what you got to create, especially against the windows are going to break. And it's been said that at the end of the day, it's hard for a person to really guard really good players offensively.
Yeah.
It's hard to stop them one-on-one.
Amen.
It becomes a team thing.
Amen.
So you got to rotate. You got to be able to be there, and at the same time, you want to create an extra pass so you can eventually get the offense under control somewhere. Right. So, but
Right.
if you're not rotating and you're not on a chain and you're not on the string, and you're not on the same page, like this type of action, especially with really good players,
Yeah.
you're gonna get killed.
Yeah, and again, that's why I give so much credit to my boss, Jeff Walls. It's managing people, right? Everybody wants to be the leading scorer, but if I'm able to recruit 5 great players and help you understand, this might be your night, this might be your night, and we can have an understanding and willingness to play together.
But see, in order to handle a team like of that caliber,
Yeah.
like you've got to be committed every possession, and everybody defensively has to be committed. So
Amen.
you have to be committed on the zone.
Oh, yeah, oh,
You have to
yeah,
be
oh,
committed.
yeah.
Because if you're not, if one person's not committed, somebody's gonna break you down.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you got a team that's defensively 1 through 5 committed, then you'll be able to play it. If not, you got problems.
Amen. Which is a great point. This is you're setting me up. This is like a softball. This is perfect. All right. So let's do that to that team that you know, because obviously you don't get to the 2018 Final Four without playing good teams.
Exactly.
Right. So I just gave an example of just direct line. I'm going by you. You know, get by my man, easy reads. So here's some simple things that we would do. Let's say dead ball. When the defense is set, it's hard to get past this first person. So what are we going to do? So we call it a through cut. Okay? We got to distort the defense and get them moving so we can get back into those downhill drives. So I'm just going to talk about 2 people here. Because obviously we've already established the corners.
Yeah. If you ain't in the corners, you get in the horn.
Right. So we don't even need to go there.
Yeah, we ain't
right?
really go there.
All right. See, you could play for Louisville in 2018 because you were going to be in that corner. You knew that rule. Okay? So I'm excited, all right, because now you brought up some great points. You talked about, you know, how you load the box and rotations. So now we got to counter because I'm playing a coach who's got good defense. All right. So I got to throw some different stuff.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the through cut.
Okay.
All right. Through cut is especially important on a dead ball. Defense is set. Teams wanted to load the box and get inside the 3-point line and not allow us, again, to go downhill to score, right? Defense was set. So we needed to distort that defense, so we would do a through cut. Now the key is the 4 player needed to be on a string with our point guard. Because what do most 4s do on a dead ball? They inbound the ball, they take their time, they wave at their girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, dad. You know, they waving at everybody. It's like, not about you. We trying to run a set. Can you get down, right? Okay, it's not a time to relax. Get down there. So we would actually train like, taking the ball out of bounds to get in formation because we had to be on a sync. If we were on a sync and we were all lined up, because again, we joked about it. Because you could have played for me the 2 or the 3. You had to be where?
You had to be in the box.
You
in the corner.
In the corner. Or are you coming out?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're just going to talk about these 2 people.
There you go.
Okay, so we would do a through cut where we would dribble down because obviously I can't go straight lane line downhill. So we would have this person sprint with a rub cut right in front with their hands up. Nothing illegal back. I'm kind of get to my spot. There's nothing illegal. You cannot call a moving screen.
Yeah.
And we would have it time where they are high and wide and we would come right off their back because what is the defense going to do? All right, are you going to hedge? Are you going under? If you go under, all I need is a gap. Because if I can get you on my hip again, now guess what? I'm going back downhill, which is now we're back in the same principles. Weak side is going to lift. You are waiting patiently in the corner for me to pass the drop box, and we're playing. And now we're back to what we talked about at the beginning.
Because in this instance, because what makes this a tough scenario is because, especially at the high level you guys are at, you know, the 4 is basically similar to the 5. So what you're going to run into is trying to figure out, should I switch this or not? Because it's not a screen. So now, if it's a 4 that is similar to like a 3 or a 2 offensively, height, size, you probably could maybe switch it if it's hit. Like if there's contact, so you're really coming, and we're going to say, a little bit of contact hacks it, and you know this is something that you run, then maybe defensively I can switch that. But if not, if you're not reading it, if the space is not, if this person that's guarding that 4-man is not off and toward the ball and give enough gap room for this person to really play it perfectly,
Amen.
This individual is turning that corner.
Right.
I mean, they're
it's over.
So it's really predicated on how this defender, the defender guard and the 4-man, how they're moving.
Amen.
If they're low enough and they're talking, they're communicating, you know it's coming. Because once again, like you said, you can't set a moving screen, so it's a brush screen.
Right.
So the question is, as they're coming, as you're seeing it's coming, your teammate's talking to you and they're coming, but it's not a screen. So hopefully there is enough space you can aggressively get through. If not, you gotta really read this thing. Like you gotta be on your P's and Q's, because if not, this action right here can cost you. Easy.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. No, 100%. And to give you the the people who are listening,
Because one thing they don't understand is it creates confusion. This is a confusion play. It's not a screen or whatnot. It's am I gonna get hit? Am I not gonna get hit? Is it a screen? Should we switch? So it's a confusion play.
Amen. And what would happen a lot of times is the 2 defenders would fight with each other because you're like, man, let me through. And the next thing you know, we got you. It's over.
There you go.
It's wrap.
Yeah.
And the other part of this that I failed to mention, again, if the rule was when we talked earlier, if I start on this lane, 5's responsibility is to always be opposite of the ball. So what would happen is if we do a through cut, again, we wanted downhill drops. We wanted to put pressure on you. All right. So what we would do is if we through cut, again, your one rule 5, it was simple. You had to be opposite the ball. So you would relocate. So again, here comes the same pressure. Does X5 help and rotate? Does X2 now come and drop? And then we kept it simple. Open window. And again, that made that team successful and hard to guard because we had talent. We had kids who all could handle the ball and shoot the ball, and so we didn't want to overcomplicate it. Because sometimes in coaching, as you know, you can overcoach when you don't need to.
Yeah, but one of the things I think you said that was key, especially like when you said the 1 and the 4 coming down.
Right.
But the one thing you said is they need to be on a string, and there needs to be tempo.
Right.
So the thing is, because once again, scouting, the teams are going to know what you run.
Right.
But it's how you run it. So if you run it quick and sharp, they can't keep up with that tempo. So even if you do this brush screen, she comes off. Boom, she switches over. This defender steps over. Now this person, understand this, if you're doing this continuously and hard, understand this, they're not going to keep up with their tempo consistently enough, being committed every time. So eventually somewhere, either the layup's going to happen, or this person's going to step inside on the 5 on the backside, this person don't zone, they're going to skip, they're going to hit, the rotation's going to happen on the swing of the ball, reversal.
Yep.
You're going to run into problems.
Oh yeah, no, you are, and I want to have some fun. Let's have some fun.
Oh, let's have some fun.
Okay, so now we've talked about the ball is obviously in the middle of the floor. All right, here's another thing that we would do on a dead ball. Again, we want to throw different angles at you in the dribble drive to put pressure on your defense where you don't have those known rotations that you described earlier. So we would call this double. All right, so in a timeout, we wanted a double gap. Okay, so here we go. We got 1, we've got 4 who are on the string, like you said. 5 is opposite of the ball. 2 and 3, like we keep on saying, you have one job. Get in that corner. Okay, come on, are you coming out? All right, so we would call this double. All right, and this needs to be your best shooter, and I'll explain why. What we would do is, again, it's all about timing and being synced. You want to move all that defense so you're confused. Am I help? Am I rotation? Right? Because if you play slow, it's easy to say, I got your back. I'm doing this. We're Xing out. But if you have a speed and tempo about you, that's hard to guard. Yeah. All right, so we would quickly reverse this ball. On this reverse, they were sprinting. Again, timing's everything for this play. You were lifting high because your goal, think about it, X3 is here. You want them trailing this speed cut where now they're behind you. When this pass from 1 to 4 happened, you have to sell out and sprint. And again, this is something we would practice that your definition of sprint and my definition of sprint are two different. Yeah. If you want this play to develop, I need you to sprint. Got you, coach. What else? All right, you coming out. Okay? 4, we're now back to the rub cut. So everything we were talking earlier was in the middle of the floor. Now this is a rub cut on the wing. Now, look what this is established. All right, now you've got 3, who's your best driver. And this was Jasmine Jones. Showtime. All right, we had a name for every kid because, again, if we could get an identity, have fun with it, build into it, we would have success. So 4 through cut, 1's out of the picture, 5 is here. Your best shooter, Asia Night Dirt, is sitting here in the corner. Okay. Now, here's the double gap. There's nobody to pitch in. You are putting severe pressure on X2. X3 is late to the party because, again, you did your work early. Yeah. You sprinted like I asked you to with a quick ball reversal, and now you're in trouble. Now this allows 3 to attack downhill. Now what is X2 going to do? I know this is the best shooter when you talked about this early. You're not helping strong side.
ISO corner.
Yeah, okay, so that's fine. So now it puts pressure on X5. You got to rotate over. All right, so if you rotate over, it's a dump pass because 1 went so fast, usually X1's man would not drop fast enough. So now you either got the dump pass or a quick layup, and we would just eat you up.
But see, once again, the biggest key to this type of, because regardless of how it may appear to be, if you slow this thing down, just say you guys walked through it, it will appear to be a simple action to guard.
Amen.
But when you add the tempo, like you sprint, like boom, hit, sprint, boom, hit, sprint, boom, and then they're coming off fast, it's different.
Right.
Now it's a hard notion to guard because for one, as fast as they hit, and especially if you're dealing with a talented individual, and they're going to their strong hand, and you opened up this whole window, they're turning this corner, you got a problem.
Right.
So now she's coming off. She's going to be able to turn this corner because she has enough room to.
Yeah.
And so now the question is, are you going to leave ISO side? I would think not.
Right.
I'm not leaving ISO corner.
Right.
So now the rotation is going to probably come from the low. And now what you guys, because of how they sprinted in the tempo, you probably, because once again, like you said, you were going with your team, with the person you were guarding, and you're just going to turn your blinders off to what's about to happen with the drive because you're like, I got to make sure I keep up with this person. Right. Because they may get open because of how hard they move.
Right.
So now you're going to probably not help on the 5 because of how fast they're moving.
Right.
But once again, it's the tempo to this play.
Amen. And this is where I want to brag about my head coach.
Okay.
All right. So now it's late game. We ran 1 minute. It's tie game. We just ran this. We're up 2.
Okay.
All right. So now we got you. So now we're.
Hey, you putting time in scoring?
I'm sorry. I'm fired up because I got to explain why it sets you up.
You jumping? That's
I
my
got
favorite,
many
but-
more.
Come on. Now.
Okay, I'm
Jumping-
sorry.
you-
I'm sorry. I'm
jumping
sorry.
my time and scoring
Okay.
stuff.
Or this could be second
Yeah, go
quarter.
ahead. No, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So again, what makes Coach Wall so good is the way he manages people and manages the game. I'm telling you, if people could sit in my chair, you would just be amazed at this man's talent. It doesn't get enough service, justice, which you should, because coaches get over credit. He'll always say that. The players deserve all the credit. We're just fortunate to coach the young women who believe in us and allow us to give them structure, right? But here's one area that he does personally that sells his play. So let's say that was a minute in the game. We ran that. We just scored on you, and we yelled double. Any good defense, right, is always going to adjust to plays because when you hear it, you're going to learn in your head. Here's the formation.
Yeah.
Here's the simplest thing that he does that makes him special. Our kids, we have a counter to each play. If we yell again, all right, double again, you're thinking defensively, they're running the same play. But actually, we're running the start of the play, which is similar, but it's going to have a different action to make you pay for thinking we're going to run the same play. Because you know how every kid, if they hear it, like it's like cheating on a test.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear the answer, I'm going for it. And then we're like, I hope you go for it because now we're going to make you pay.
There you go.
And I'm telling you, there's a way he delivers it that makes him special. And you'll see it. Anybody who watches it, he'll get that fist pump, and then you'll now know he just got him on again.
So from here on out, if I see the fist pump, okay, that was a count.
That was again.
That was
again.
okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
And again, it could be again to everything. We could run 41 again. You know,
Yeah,
when he
anyway.
says that, it's usually we just scored on this. Now let's get him on the counter.
Yeah, you just don't know what the counter is.
Right. So here we go. All right. Now we're going double again.
Okay.
All right. We got you. So here we go. Same formation. 3 and 2 got to be in the.
You already know. You already know.
Right.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. It was easy. In 2018, if you were a 3 or a 2, you had one simple job. Okay? It wasn't that hard. All right? All right? And five is opposite of the ball. So what we wanted to do to now someone like you, all right, who didn't want to leave Asia Durr, but Asia Durr was our best player and needed a touch. And this was a great play to run when X5 could actually affect a layup, get back in the play, block a shot. Let's say Brittany Griner. Someone 6'7", I needed her out of the paint because she could play. Her alone in the paint could help alter. Like it didn't matter how good of a coach we were in that last play. She was blowing all of it up.
Yeah.
You didn't want to come to her. So this action actually helped us. So what we would do is 5 would be late to the party. So when we came down, we actually wanted them to start ball side because what is X5 going to do? You're going to be attached to the hip. I'm tricking you, right? So same thing. And a good team who runs sets. What people don't understand, there's acting to it. It's not just playing basketball.
You got to sell it.
Oh, come on now, right? So we work on that too, all right? So when we pass this ball and we reverse, same rules apply. 3's deep in the corner. When this pass up, you are sprinting hard as you can. Now this is where 5 comes in. I need 5 out of there. 2 is sprinting on the reverse to the block, okay? 5 is actually running opposite block and screaming as loud as they can to the elbow because if I look like I want the ball, and maybe I'm not even a good scorer, X5 is going to stay with me because you got me sold that you're about to get it on the elbow, right? So now what we have now done is given 2 an opportunity to score, and this is how we're going to do it. 4 obviously went through. 1 went through. All right, so here we go. 3 is here. 5 now is here, where 5 earlier was at the block.
Setting the slice.
Right? So what happens is when this handoff occurs, 2 should already be at the block. You are sprinting up, acting like you want the ball. You are taking 2 dribbles, which is going to give a great passing window for a nice backdoor. Because again, you're not helping strong side. And now we're going to hit you on again for a backbreaker layup because X5 left the paint to come out here because they thought they were getting the ball. So now we have a window where she can't score on this side, she can reverse. And we ran this against Tennessee in a Sweet 16 at home. They helped us win the game.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. So there was a counter. You hit it. And, I mean, it's a good notion. And then the one thing that you add into it, once again, because you already hit with your tempo, and then, once again, you're adding, like you said, acting. But it's like not necessarily acting because you always teach individuals, whether it's individual moves, you got to sell it. Eyes, hands, gestures, posture.
Everybody,
movement.
right.
Hey, if you're trying to sell a move, if you're trying to beat somebody, there's a certain way you deliver it in order to beat them. You just can't do it.
Amen.
So with the tempo and the speed, now you're going to add in a little bit of acting. Okay, but now, once again, if it's a good play in that corner anyway, regardless of just being a shooter, we're going to open up this floor for you to possibly make a backdoor play. Now, question, if they go through on that backdoor, they don't get it.
I love it. God, Softballs, man, you set me up. All right, this is perfect. All right, I love it. All right, so good, exactly, because every good play can't just end when it don't work. So what we would do is we would stay with it, because again, we're talking about end of the game. End of the game, we don't want to settle for 3. We want to attack the hole, put pressure on the referee. All right, so 2 went back door. We tell them cut and continue out. Now we're going to form an overload situation because 3 had the ball. You do not want to pick up your dribble. 3 is going to keep it. 5 is going to pop out. Okay, and now we're going to have this. 3 is going to throw it to 5, because again, in 2018, 1 through 5 were highly skilled kids. This is the only reason we could run this offense, because most 5s cannot handle the ball. Ours could. This is Maisha Hines-Allen, who ended up being the 13th pick in the WNBA draft. So a lot of teams don't have this luxury. We did, which that's why they say recruiting is important, right?
Yes, it is.
You're only as good as your players. So what we would do is 2 went back door. It wasn't there. 5 would pop hard. 3 would come, act like they're getting a handoff, and they would go back door. Okay? Now, to your next question, what if the first back door happened? It wasn't there. Now the second one didn't happen. She would also get out of there, because again, this is the end of the game, and we need to get to the ball to the rim. We got to put pressure on that referee. So now you literally have an overload where nobody can come. And this 5, when 3 would go, you would know right when you can't throw it. Soon as they're cutting, 5 would have a clear out to go with her right hand right behind them. And you're taking it to the rim, 5, and you're racking it, because there is nobody in this area to shift over, because we literally have an overload on this side of the floor.
I'll open it up for you.
So it was understood. Back door's not there, keep your dribble. 5 rise, boom, I come, back door not there. You play right off, and we slicing and dicing. To the rim, baby.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. Now, we've touched on that notion from an offensive standpoint.
Yep.
Now, I'm pretty sure just as an aggressive and tempo offensively y'all were.
Right.
And I know, I mean, at UofL, they just don't attack on offense.
Right.
They attack on defense. So what is the philosophy approach to the defense?
Yeah, so it goes like to his offensive philosophy. Our objective is to win. He wasn't like, this is my way or the highway. Just like I talked about offense. If I recruited you and you were a great driver, we're going to make sure we put plays and let you drive. Defensively, if you're a team that, let's take Oregon, for example. They had a great run. Sabrina, who currently in the WNBA is one of the top players, she was the first pick in the WNBA draft 2 years ago. She was phenomenal on ball screens. All right, we weren't a trapping team, but when we played Oregon, we were trapping her every ball screen, because our thing was we read about you and hear about you every night. That somebody else is going to have to beat us, but it ain't going to be you.
But here's the thing. The real good coaches at the end of the day, it's not a one-trick pony.
Right.
Not every team's the same. Every
Right.
team plays differently. And the thing is, that means the matchup's going to be different. If you go in with the same type of philosophy, I'm pretty sure your vision, that's why they say style makes fights.
Right.
Because you're going to meet somebody who matches that.
I like
so
that.
So the question is, can you adjust?
Right.
So like you're saying, y'all weren't a trapping team, but we saw we're trapping today.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying? So the key is to train your team to be able to handle whatever the philosophy is at the point you demand it. So for me, I think real good coaches can cover it all.
Amen.
Now, they may not be able to cover every genre, but they try and cover as much, because you never know. And I know that you say jack of all trades, master of none.
Right.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, when you play sports, especially basketball, because
Right.
things can change.
Amen.
Like, I guess in football it may be a little different or whatever it may be, but in basketball, it can change like that, and you got to be able to adjust quickly, especially with the different types of styles that people are going to bring to the table.
Amen.
You got to be able to adjust.
Yeah, and I think that delivering confidence, right? Knowing that we're going to do something that we're not good at, but I'm not going to go crazy and yell at you for something we're not good at. But if I can trick you and say, you know what, if you want to win this game, because that's how it's always about his delivery. Again, he's a manager of people. First of all, he always tells ladies, y'all want to win? Yeah, coach, we want to win. All right, then this is what we got to do to win. And then now you got him. All right, if we can trap her and keep the ball out of her hands, then we have a great chance to beat him. All right, let's do it. So then it's not emotion. If we're not good at it, you know what? You believe, coach, this is what we got to do. Let's do it. And you know what? He's usually 95% right. And then this is what I love about him. That 5% that he's not, guess who the first person is speaking in that locker room when we get back? Coach Walls.
There you go.
He's the first one to take ownership. Hey, I put a game plan together. It's on me, ladies.
Yeah.
And because you have that credibility and that dialogue with your team, then you'll go to war for each other.
There you go. So what would be, what is your typical defensive strategy? On a normal night, is it just man-to-man? Are we pressing?
Yeah.
What would be the typical night?
Yeah. So a typical night for us is we want a great ball pressure man-to-man.
Mm-hmm.
We want to pick up the ball and slow it down and make you go east and west. Delay what you want to do. All right.
Question: would you want to say that the theory going into the game is teams are not going to be as deep as us? They're not going to be as talented as us. So if we can wear you down by extending pressure, really getting into you, now that favors for us down the stretch.
Well, you know what? This is what's hard about Jeff Walls. All right. Again, his philosophy is to win. So to answer your question, which is right, most coaches are wired that way. His is not. He looks at each individual map and says, what do we got to do to win this game? For example, this team might not be able to shoot the three at all, but they're great downhill drivers. We might not play zone all year. We're playing zone this game, y'all. If y'all want to win this game, again, because it's all how about you deliver it. Y'all want to win? Yeah, coach. We need to play a 2-3 zone. So, again, we take individual scouting reports and we play tendencies. That's what we do here at Louisville. And it might be hard because it's not necessarily what we're great at, but we're going to make sure what you're not good at, you're not going to do against us. And then that's kind of his philosophy. And his willingness to adapt and make changes in timeouts is nothing like I've ever seen. We might not try a triangle and two all year in practice. See, most coaches don't do stuff in the game if they haven't practiced it. Not Jeff Walls. Jeff Walls has a delivery and confidence that he's able to relay the message and say, this is what I need to do in order for us to win this. All right, we'll do it. And he's not going to fight those battles when it's not perfect because, again, it's nothing we've set you up to practice. But he has a way to manage games and change the outcomes in order for us to win.
There you go. Well, that's what it takes to win games. So if you want to be the best version of yourself, I mean, you really got to learn how to adjust and really sometimes you got to do it on the fly. It's not as most people think. It's not as easy as it looks. Sometimes you're sitting out there, you're quarterbacking it, you're looking at it, you're trying to figure out, and you're kind of computing as the game goes on. Like the initial plan we was going with. That's why you see like, what are they going to do at halftime? Because initially you're out there computing, you're sitting over there with your sister, you're computing like, okay, we thought that was going to work. Now it's not working. Okay, halftime. All right, let's talk. What do we need to do?
Hey, man. And I think, what we're talking about, emotional intelligence is not talked about enough. One, the players. You can't get emotional, slap the floor, lose your mind, because now you're not helping your team out. You're individually caught up in yourself that's not going to make your team well. Same for coaches. If I know you're struggling, I got to find a way to motivate and challenge you. Maybe yelling at you is not the best way. And again, I can't emphasize enough, Coach Walls' management style is what makes him so good. You might be a player that can't handle yelling. So I'm going to call you over and put my hand over my mouth, and I'm going to sit there and go, right now we have 10,000 fans. And you are getting embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed. Is this the best you got? And you know what? Because you don't feel embarrassed, you're going to take that and say, I got you, coach. Where somebody else, you respond to, are you serious? Come on. We got 10,000 a night, packed house, ESPN primetime. You got to give me better effort. And you're going to be like, oh, I'm not letting you down. But again, his ability to have the emotional intelligence, how to coach each one of those kids to make them one unit, is what makes him one of the top 5 coaches in the country.
Well, there you go. Now we're going to do one of my favorite segments. Is called Time and Score. Okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to set you up with a scenario and you just take it home. Okay. You can draw up what you.
I love it.
Okay. So what we're going to do is your team is up 1.
Okay.
Okay. 1 minute left. Length of the court. You have 0 timeouts. There's 25 seconds left on the shot clock. You're on length of the court. The team is pressing.
Okay.
Okay. They're pressing you. Okay. Your best player is your point guard, but they're not having a good night.
Yep.
Off night, like they're saying 3 of 13.
Yep.
Okay. Second best player, which is your 5. Your 5.
Yep.
He's having a good night.
I love it. Woo! You gave me some good ones. So I'm going to answer this question like Coach Walls, because obviously I've only been an assistant who's been fortunate with good head coaches. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, this scenario doesn't scare him because again, players react on your coach. If a coach looks tight and nervous, you in trouble because they in trouble, right? So there's first of all a demeanor about him that's like, we got this. And I think our players take on that. All right, 1 minute, all right, length of the court, and you're pressing us. This is his philosophy. Anybody who presses us, we are attacking to score. All right, a lot of people would want to attack the press, break it back out, set it up because they're trying to control the clock. His philosophy is, if you want to press me, I'm going to make you pay. And I'm willing to take a quick shot no matter what because 2 points is 2 points. So he loves the situation in that, if you're going to press me, that we're going to get a good one. The second variables, the point guard not having a good night, he talks about this all the time. If a kid was, I think you said 3 for 12 or 3 for 13, this is where he is a master of the mind. And again, I'm giving all the secret sauce here of what makes him a good coach.
He's going to be like, I think you was giving it away.
Because there's psychology to this, right? Those who are listening to this obviously are either watching this because they want to learn or they're reading a book, something that inspires them, all right? So again, there's a psychology to coaching, all right? And this is where he has a master's degree without it legally saying on his resume he has one. And I'm giving it to him, okay? He has a way of knowing, you've obviously put in the work before we've got to this game, that there's a relationship between me and you. You know you're the best player. So he would say simply like, can you miss another one? And then you kind of be like, what? He's like, you can't miss 3 for 12. You can't miss another one. So then he kind of like, yeah, I can't miss one. Because if not, that kid is literally thinking, man, this ain't my night. But if my coach tells me, there ain't no way you going to miss another one, there's kind of a sense of, man, you got me, coach. You know I'm ride or die, and the team knows, you know what, you've earned this spot, so I don't care what your stats show right now, you're going to make this play.
There you go.
You see? It's almost like we go recruiting at a high school game. You hear the parents say, don't miss this free throw. And I sit there and I think to myself, do you really think they're trying to miss this free throw? Like, how you word things and how you say something to an individual is a lot of time what affects their performance.
There you go.
And so that's why he's able to get the best out of his players.
There you go.
All right, but let's say they're not pressing, because now you understand this scenario. We would attack it over the top to score.
Okay.
And people don't want to press us because of that.
Okay.
Because most time when you press, you know you can't, they're a team who runs a bunch of sets, you can delay them. You can't do that to us.
Okay.
All right?
So you just going to take me out of what I had you against?
I'm already chopping you up. And now you don't want to press. You're like, don't press, but keep them in front and hopefully. Okay, you see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
All right. So now let's say you did it press and you kept us in a half court. I'm going back to 2018. Okay, I'm going to keep riding this.
You're just going to go with this team, huh?
God, that one hurts. We were there, man. That was our year. All right. I ain't going to get to that. That's another 30 minutes I can talk about that one. All right. So again, in 2018, we loved
Okay, so let's just go ahead and say this. The reason why you're saying you're not worried about this part is because y'all would be looking to score anyway.
Oh, so that's every year.
So just 1 minute left. We're just going to go for it.
We call it barbecue chicken. All right, because we smell that we go cook, we go eat you up. You want to press us, we're gonna make you pay.
Okay, so let's just say, we're taking it out, so we're gonna run a set. Okay.
We're gonna
so
run a set.
Okay. What we
You
doing?
know we're gonna attack you to score.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So what we want to do, I talked about the dribble drive in 2018. End of the game, I want to give you something that you're not ready to guard. Because at this point in the game, you've been rotating weak side, you've been determining your timeouts, don't help strong side. I got to put confusion for your defense. I've been going wide. We joked about 2 and 3 in 2018 had one job. They were in the corners. Now I'm going to go with a box set.
There you go.
Now all of a sudden, like, why are you in the box, man? You're supposed to be in the corner. Your coach can get your job, right?
Gotcha.
All right. And you were talking about, obviously you're aware that our best player, right, we're probably going to go to. Even though the statistics I kind of explain, if you watch film on us, you know we're still going to them no matter what.
No matter what.
So we want to put our best player here, the 2. We need our best passer here. All right. We want our big here. All right. Our 4 here. And our point here, box formation.
Box set.
All right, but who's in these spots is going to matter in this situation. You can't, like where I told you in the dribble job earlier, it didn't matter. It matters now. It's go time, money time, right?
Gotcha.
All right. So most teams end of the game switch everything, right? Or they might. Most people don't want to switch a down screen with a 5 player. So that's why we have this action with our 5. So what we want to do is down screen for the 3. We want to catch the ball in this area. I don't want to get outside the 3-point line because I'm going to show you later why this is important. All right, from here, all right, the 3 catches it. All right, I need some decoy action. Again, I told you what sets us apart is our ability to sell plays to make them work. Our best player, again, is the 2. All right, so when this pass has been established to the 3, I need the 4 to set a flare screen to occupy these 2 defenders. Because what I need is I need space because I bunched my team up in a box formation, but now I got to create some way to create a window for an easy scoring opportunity.
There you go.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is you're not going to lose, too. You're worried at this point, oh, my God, the best player. So most teams are going to face guard, all this. We call it crackback. 3, again, is our best passer. All right? So what we would do is after 5 set the down screen, 2 would set this back screen because this is not a normal thing that you would practice. Most screens happen cross screen, never this action. So X5 would literally get drawed in the back. 5 would spin underneath the rim. Again, this is your best passer where X1 can't get in here because they just came off a flare screen because this is the end of the game. They're not going under and helping in this area of the paint. So what this does is put pressure on X2. X2's like, oh my God, do I help? Do I 3-quarter? Because the ball's right here. All your principles you've been taught, I haven't guarded any of this action. So now you got to think quick. So if they don't help, it's an easy pass right here, 2 points, backbreaker. Oh, man. If not, and you get 2 people to go, you got 2 with 2 feet in the paint who is your best scorer. And in this situation, we ran it this way because this was Asia Durr, who was left-handed, would literally just receive the pass because you had 2 people guarding 1 on 5 and nobody else to help. You throw it to her and get a backbreaker layup and make somebody look stupid. And when at the end of the game, if you can make them look dumb, now you just took the sail out of their boat and you got a chance to bring it home. So that was a play that we ran against UConn because UConn also has had an unbelievable dynasty, and we were able to beat them at home for the first time in 18 tries.
Well, there you go. I mean, actually, in reference to the nature, because it's going to be a high intensity moment because there's 1 minute left. They're going to be trying to play defense to make sure they get the ball back because they're down 1. They don't want to make it a 3 scenario. Unless they foul you, send you to the line, and then you maybe shoot a free throw, miss 1. Now they're only down 2.
Right.
So, that is a very good play. That is a very good play to run. So, Coach, you did a good job. You handled my time and score, even though you messed with my pressing motion.
Thank you, man. Yep.
But once again, I appreciate you being on the show. You've been a pleasure. It's been great. Everything that you've relayed has been awesome. And I thank you for being on here today.
Thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it.